Hey, welcome back to Idol Stand Nation. This is episode 2 being recorded on February 2nd. This is one of your hosts, Ora, and again with Jihoon and Bang. Say hi, guys.
Hey, what's up?
Hey everyone.
Alright, so there's quite a few things we want to talk about. So without further ado, let's get into it. Alright, so CLC. They recently had their long awaited comeback. It's been 11 months and waiting. And it just released on the 30th of January, I believe. I don't remember.
Has it been that long already?
I think so.
It's been like at least 2 days.
Yeah, I think it was on the 30th. What are your guys' thoughts on it?
I liked it. I mean, from me never listening to them before, I listened to a couple of their songs before, but watching the music video and getting into all their other songs, I enjoyed it.
I don't know. I have mixed feelings about this comeback, to be honest. I like the message. I was a little off-put by the delivery myself.
What, of the music video or just a straight comeback?
Probably the song itself, right? The actual the
Yeah,
song itself.
yeah, the song. I don't know. I just couldn't get into the song.
I didn't think it was that bad.
I don't think it's bad either. It just gave a different feel.
So for myself, I'm not too familiar with CLC. This is actually the first music video I sat down and watched because the previous music videos I had it playing on my other monitor while I'm like playing video games or whatever, right? And I still took the time hit the like button and whatnot, but
Yeah,
just like you, I do like the message of the lyrics, right? It's for those of you who don't know, the lyrics are about women wanting to be confident and comfortable with who they are, right? And not needing to feel pressured about their boyfriends or husbands or whatever, trying to make them into these things that they aren't, that they're not comfortable with, right? So, more specifically, they were talking about like, in one of the lines they're talking about, you want a cute girl, you want a pretty girl acts all cute and whatnot, go somewhere else, right? I am me, I am beautiful.
yeah.
And those so there had been some misunderstanding with the message of the music video as well, if you recall.
Yeah, I know that a couple of people we've talked about were a little bit confused. I myself, rather than thinking it's directed towards like a boyfriend or a husband, I felt it was more towards a society trying to project their views because Korea has probably not just Korea, but society in general has a certain view towards women, and that is very much played in media. Like, women should be feminine, women should have long flowing hair, or something like that as their ideal or as an image that is projected towards most women. And I feel like the lyrics really portray a message where they don't have to play into that, is really my thoughts towards it.
Yeah, and I know one of the pieces that generated some confusion among non-Korean listeners was with the lyrics "red lip no, high heel no," right? Some people thought that they were saying that they don't want those things at all, even though you could see them wearing those things in
Yeah.
other music videos or in photos and whatnot. But that's not what they're saying. They're not saying they don't want red lipstick or high heels. If you look at the lyrics, after that piece, they're talking about don't give us that stuff, right? I have my own style. I have my own fashion that I like. Let me get my own things. Don't try to give me these things to make me into this image that you think I should be. Because
Exactly.
it goes back to what you're talking about with what society in general thinks a woman should be like.
Exactly.
So it's generating some discussion, and I think the fact that it's generating that kind of discussion is a good thing, really.
Of course, of course. But like the delivery itself, despite the message being like amazing, I wasn't encaptured with the rest of the how the delivery was done. But with their previous songs like Hobgoblin or Black Dress, when I first heard it, I was like, okay, that's a good song. I'm instantly drawn to this. I want to listen more. I want to be more invested.
Yeah, I found the lyrics, like the English parts to the lyrics, a little clumsy.
Yeah,
So, and I guess for more for like the anti-feminists, they could see this as being antagonistic.
yeah, yeah,
So that was another piece. Like, I see the song as being more of a women's anthem. You know, similar to like Beyonce songs with like all the ladies, right? So if you remember when that song came out, so many women were posting it all over like Facebook and Instagram. Like it became like like the women's anthem for that year.
yeah. And I think more women, girl groups, and whatnot should have some sort of female empowering songs.
And for Bang, what do you think of the lyrics when you first heard the song?
I mean, I'd say they're decent lyrics for the song. I mean, yeah, they send a powerful message, but it's not something that I'd probably replay quite a lot, you know.
Yeah, it would be. I mean, for us as guys, that would be something very difficult because, like, you know, what kind of message are you giving to everybody else out there that's, catching you listening to these type of songs?
Yeah.
It, I don't know. It's also a bit of a dangerous thing for us as well.
I think the song was good enough for me to enlighten me to the rest of their music.
It I think it was good as an opening. Okay, probably opening wouldn't be the right word. It's introduce. Yeah, that's the word I'm looking for. To better introduce you to the other songs because Hobgoblin, amazing. Black Dress, amazing. And I know that they've released many other songs, but those are probably the two best songs off the top of my head that they've released recently, in the last 2, maybe 3 years.
Yeah, and I think too. I think for this type of subject, it's good. We see a lot of the same topics, right, talked about in songs over the years, and it's good to see a bit of a variety as well as some good, positive role models for young women.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, if this can give more confidence to younger women who aspire to be certain things and can push them to do even more amazing things, I think this song, at least as a gateway, can become a gateway to give them a chance to want to pursue paths that may not be more akin to or stereotypically akin to women.
Yeah, and so I've been a part of the K-pop scene for, man, I want to say since 2003, 2004.
Long
2002.
time.
A long time, right?
Yeah.
And so one thing I've noticed coming from like the first generation of idols with like SES, Finkel, and Baby Box, right?
Yeah.
There's always a need for a kind of like a girl crush, girl group.
Exactly.
So for this generation, I saw a bit of that in Blackpink, but at the moment they're kind of being mishandled by YG. At least that's the impression that a lot of people are getting,
Yeah.
and a lot of people are feeling like they're not getting the full exposure they should. But I thought that Blackpink did a good job of taking up the mantle after 21, who
Yeah.
because they were part of the second generation of groups that. For that generation, 21 was that positive role model for young women, who wanted to be strong and independent.
Yeah. Yeah.
And for this generation, since it's good to see the CLC taking up that mantle.
I feel it's not just CLC that's taking up that mantle now. I think it's with CLC, another Blackpink and G Idol,
Yes.
who's under the same label as CLC.
Yes.
They are it's shifting more and more towards where groups are trying to take up that mantle.
Yeah, and it's not to say we didn't have that with the previous generation either, because there was also a bit of that with Sister, right?
Sister, yeah.
Can't really think of another one. What was this? But there were other groups out there. It wasn't just like one.
I felt like
group.
FX was the same.
Oh
way.
yes.
FX.
Yes, I agree. FX is definitely a strong a strong, confident image, and they do have a lot of female fans because of that. So,
Yeah.
and Amber especially.
Oh, I love Amber's music, and her personality too towards this whole girl crush, female empowerment. I think Amber is probably the how would I say this? Like the figurehead or something like that.
Oh yeah, yeah, for sure. Cause and she's such a chill person, right? Out of all the idols out there, which I would love to meet so many of them, but Amber would probably be in my at least easily in my top 10 of idols I would love to meet.
Oh yeah, like go out, get a burger or maybe some pasta or something like that.
Yeah, cause like, and it's kind of tragic that she gets so much hate just because she's not that stereotypical girl. She's
I,
really androgynous with her looks.
I think she's getting more like attention in the U.S. Just because I feel like it's more accepting in the U.S. for more of an androgynous look.
Well, that's primarily more in like I would say at least along the coast.
Yeah.
You definitely have some, well, not some. You definitely have a lot of large, more conservative communities in the United States where they are just as hardcore conservative as like in Korea or Japan.
Yeah, yeah.
Because
Oh,
with with America being so huge and all these different communities, you definitely have various communities with various leanings.
yeah.
Well then, I think
We've deviated quite a bit from
Yeah.
CLC. We've gone from CLC to Abroad Tim.
but I think just like I said before, it's a good thing that they're sparking these kind of discussions.
Yeah, and if more groups can follow their lead and actually keep these discussions going, I think it can lead to a big change in not just Korea, but a bigger view in society. Any discussion towards bettering women who can evoke these emotions, who can evoke these conversations, should be heavily, or even just more, get more recognition would be the right word. Should,
Oh yeah, and it's not just for women, but like for any disenfranchised group, because we all want the same thing. We all just want to be able to walk down the streets and feel safe and not have to worry about someone coming up to us and harassing us, whether it
Exactly.
be because we're Asian or because we're men or because someone's
woman.
homosexual.
Exactly.
We all want the same thing in the end, really. So.
Yeah. No matter the gender, race, age, because I've seen people harassed because they're younger or maybe they're older, or there's such a discrepancy with how society views certain people, and I think groups like this who have a medium to send a message should really do their best to send that message to empower those people.
Yes. All right. So, you want to move on to your segment?
Yeah, let's move on to the next conversation. So recently on Super Intern Ep.002 that premiered on the 31st of January, there was Twice and GOT7 were guests on the show. So, and one of the questions that really got me thinking from what Jiho said on one of the segments that I saw that has circulated through Twitter at least on my Twitter feed, was when she asked, or when she mentioned how Twice and their members have been considering new concepts where how they can stay relevant to their fans, how they can stay the interest of their fans, and they wanted the opinions of the interns. So I guess with this subject, what are your thoughts about like concepts and how idols really go with it?
As in, like regarding Twice, or just for any idols in general?
Just any idols. It's because how some idols change concepts, or how some idols just stick to the same concept. what would be the best advice you would give, or do you think that there's an expiration date for certain concepts, or should idols just always stay with the same concept? Because how they looked when they asked the question, it's like they were searching for a certain answer or a certain feel or something like that.
Yeah, I saw this. I saw that clip as well. So they wanted some reassurance into what they were thinking, right? Like, because there you could see that there was apprehension among Twice.
Yeah.
You know, they've been at this for 3 years now, and so you mentioned expiration dates, right?
Yeah.
And I guess one of the best examples I could give is that overtly cutesy concept, like Girls' Generation's Baby Baby, that came in 2008,
Yeah.
11 years ago, right? So
Oh, yeah.
could you imagine them as 30-year-olds right now trying to pull that exact same concept?
I mean, it's exactly that point, because I know with isn't part of the K-pop section, but this is more with the Japanese J-pop section. I guess like AKB48. It's been over a decade and a half, around a decade and a half now, where they still do pretty cutesy concepts. And one of the members, Minageshi Minami, she's been part of the group since the outset. She is part of the first generation, and she still does the cutesy concept. And
But how old is she?
she is, I believe, 26, 27 now.
Yeah, because what's the other member? She was on Produce 48. Miho?
Yeah, Miho hasn't been as long as
But she's
Minami.
older. She's like 28 years old, isn't she?
I believe so. And they're still doing the same concept from the cute concept.
So with that though, with AKB and like before them, Morning Musume, they rotate members out, in and out, so that the overall age still stays about the same.
Very
so even
true.
though they've been established for over a decade, like they even said with Morning Musume, the concept was the idol group that never ages. So as members reach a certain age, they would graduate out and they would bring in a newer, younger member, so
Yeah.
that the overall age is about the same. So
Yeah.
that's not if the group is ran that way, then sure you could stay with the cutesy concept, right? Because just like
Yeah.
that dude said, they never age.
Yeah.
So, but then with groups like 21, they maintained a consistent image from when they debuted until when they disbanded.
Yeah.
Because that Girl Crush concept, that's pretty timeless. Like you could, even if you're like 40 years old and you're still in an idol group, you can still do the Girl Crush concept and it'll be fine.
Exactly.
I think it's how the fans perceive it.
Yes. So for you, Bang, you've been following Twice for how long?
I'd say this is going on, I think, my second year. I started like mid 17, I'd say.
So
Okay.
then, what do you think of like Twice's current concept, and where should they go from here, and like when? Like what kind of timelines are you thinking for like concept transitions for Twice?
I mean, honestly, whatever they throw out, I'm enjoying it either way. Like I said, it's how the fans perceive it. They could do any concept they wanted, and I'd still probably enjoy it. Same with any other artist. It's all how they feel and what they want to do going into it.
You see, that's kind of where I feel like the fans for any group is kind of divided. Some fans really do enjoy them staying consistent. Some fans just want them to do the same concept over and over because that's what they're used to. But I don't think that. But then there's others that want a new concept that they can't maintain a cute concept because they're getting older. Cute really matches well with a younger group, fresher groups. But as they get older, it's not going to be as easy because obviously they're becoming more mature.
I think another factor to consider as well is the industry as a whole, because like for example, Twice doesn't exist in a bubble, right? It's not just
Exactly.
only Twice releasing songs. So I think, say this year does an oversaturation of girl crush concepts, I think a lot of fans would be calling for something different besides girl crush.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not going to say like sexy would be a concept to go because that's not always a concept that works for every group, you know.
And that's almost like I almost see that as kind of like a sign that a girl group is going downhill. Get desperate enough to go to the sexy concept, like that overtly sexy, and not just like that implied sexy. Like,
Well,
implied sexy is fine.
I mean, there are groups that do sexy well, and they really pull it off well. Like, I'd say Sistar pulled it off fairly well, or an Exit too, with the up down. I felt that was a very sexy concept.
That was actually what brought them back because prior to that, XID was kind of struggling for a bit, and
Yeah.
they were starting to lose a lot of market share,
Yeah,
and it was a fan cam of that performance
exactly.
that went viral first. So
Of
once that
Honey?
fan cam,
Yes.
yes, exactly. Once that went viral, then they were back on the radar.
Yeah.
So that helped bring them back. But see, for that though, that wasn't their promoted concept though.
Yeah.
It was just something that spontaneously happened during one of their live performances. I was thinking more along the lines of like I think it was like Nine Muses, right? Where they went to like this full like overtly sexy concept,
Yeah.
and like they had already been going downhill from there. But after that, it didn't help them at all. In fact, it was kind of
It was such a big change.
yeah,
to
and it was
the-
kind of off-putting.
I mean, because I believe that the cutesy, the whole getting into the cute concept can go the opposite way as well, with like AOA, because they started out as a band, went to a sexy, then I guess with their latest Bingo Bangle that we mentioned in the last episode is more leaning towards the cutesy concept.
Yeah, and like
So it's, I feel like
because that wasn't super cute. It
It-
wasn't like like on that range of like sexy to cute. It was towards the cute side, but not like all the way over to like oh my god, like unicorns and rainbows and kittens and whatnot.
hey, they need more unicorns, okay? They need more unicorns. For our listeners, I'm just joking.
Because like if you remember Hamasaki Ayumi,
Yeah.
she's already like in her mid to late 30s now.
Is she?
Yeah, she's been performing for a long time, man. She still maintains a little bit of that cuteness to her, right? But it's
Yeah.
not too much where it's like, oh my god, what are you doing? You're an old lady.
Yeah.
It's like it's cute, like an appropriate cute for someone of her age.
So it's I guess it's really like
The execution,
yeah.
execution and implementation.
Exactly. Like look at SNSD. They've been in the industry for over a decade now.
12 years.
Yeah, and they've started with really cutesy, but then they've gone to Girl Crush. Then they've gone into so many different concepts that I think this would be a good move because I'd say around this time is what SNSD did that Twice could do. Is change a concept, but not so much, but that would keep their fans engaged.
Yeah, because it started off with Into the World, and that was kind of like it appealed to like the young teenagers, right? People who are coming
Yeah.
of age, and so that actually it was a cute but
Not too cute.
energetic. Exactly, it was kind of like, you're coming into coming into the world. So, and after that it was they went like super cute with Baby Baby.
Yeah.
And after Baby Baby, wasn't it?
I think it was G.
Run Double. Whoa, what was it?
I think
G?
it was,
Oh yeah.
Yeah, G.
Yes.
G
And
was one of the big ones.
And then they went to Genie, which was kind of on the sexy side, but was
But not-
more on the yeah. It wasn't like
not-
overtly sexy. It was really more on the pretty side.
Yeah.
And then after that was Run Double Run,
Yeah.
which is their girl crush.
Yeah.
And after Run Double Run, was it the boy? Was it the boys?
I think it was the boy. No.
Or no, Taxi, wasn't it? Mr. Taxi?
Yeah, it was Taxi, then the boys.
Which Taxi was still. It wasn't like a cutesy or sexy vibe. It was really more of like a fun type of
Yeah.
concept.
Yeah.
And then the boys was when they went girl crush again.
Yeah.
After
And
that, I kind of fell off of Girls' Generation after that.
They went to like I believe Lionheart. No, they didn't go to Lionheart immediately. They went to they went through a lot of concepts. Is basically what we're saying.
Because
But
Lionheart was like was that 2 years after The Boys?
yeah, that was 2 years. Um, but it's like their fans are grow Twice's fans are growing older. Their chase tastes are changing, and I think because not everybody's going to. I'm going to call back to the clip, to be honest, where they mentioned uh, one of the interns does mention something about, oh, your fans are like old friends. They're not going to lose interest. Similar to your friends, uh, old friends are going to be old friends, and you'll love them no matter what. I kind of found that comment a little bit off-putting, to be honest, because if your friends don't basically grow up, imagine your best friend from when you were 6. You see him again as a 26-year-old. Now, I'm not saying that all of our ages are 26. It's just a general age, but if they're a 26-year-old still acting like they were 6, could you still see them the same way? Could you still care about them and see them as a best friend in the same way as when you were both 6?
Oh yeah, because like the things that you liked about that person from when they were 6 years old are probably not. Those are probably reasons for you to hate them now as an adult.
Yeah, I I think kind of think that's how the cute concept can be viewed. Is like if you stay with the cute, it's not going to work in the future, because people grow up. People want something a little bit more mature that they can relate to.
And not to mention, it's not just people too. It's like society as a whole. Society's tastes can change as well.
Exactly.
Because like what was it? So I want to say around 2011 or 2013, around that time frame, there was kind of a resurgence in retro 80s sound. So
Yeah.
like Dal Shabet and I think even Crayon Pop had some songs that had kind of like a throwback sound to the 80s.
Yeah.
Which again, so for that time period, you know, society was into that.
Exactly.
You can't exactly pull that too well right now. Although, was it Millions or Millionaire? What's that group?
Uh, I don't know which group you're talking about.
Ghost had brought them up earlier, and one of their music videos has like an 80s retro vibe to it, as well as a sound to it. But they were able to pull it off pretty well. But I
Yeah.
don't see that as being like a resurgence in that trend. I don't see that becoming a trend.
Yeah.
I see it as like a one-off thing for this time period.
Oh no, Bing. What are your thoughts?
I mean, honestly, there's only so many concepts you can go through. So, with them bouncing back and forth or staying with the same concept, I mean, like I said before, people are still going to listen to them. They're still going to enjoy it. You just gotta, they have to keep them, I guess, excited for it.
True.
So then-
Because you know they hype it up before
Yeah.
every comeback.
They do.
So you get a little taste of it before, but you can only do so many concepts throughout your whole career, you know.
Yeah.
So
I
then
mean-
for Twice, would you say was there any particular comebacks that you were more excited about and others that you weren't as excited about as you thought you would be?
Um,
Or maybe not even just Twice, but there's like another group like that.
for Twice, I'd say it was. I mean, Dance the Night Away was a good comeback, and it was like a summer theme, you know. And then, I mean, I liked What Is Love, but that concept, I mean, it was all right, but I'm not sure how I felt about that as soon as it came out.
So you went through two extremes with back-to-back comebacks then. Like like you had What Is Love and then right after What Is Love, that was That's the Night Away, wasn't it?
Yeah. Those are just ones that I brought up.
Yeah. I mean, for me, it would be I couldn't get into Signal as much, even though like one of my favorite tracks from that album was One in a Million. I think that is probably most of Once's favorite tracks in that album. But yeah, for me it was Signal that I probably had the hardest time grabbing. But then with songs like Likey, and for me, What Is Love, I actually did like that. But for the video production, I enjoyed the video production for What Is Love. It was really well done in my opinion. But I feel like those are similar concepts in that they are still fairly cute. But I don't think, because of how many songs that they have released in a span of 3 years, they are oversaturating their own concepts, I believe, in such a short amount of time.
Yeah, because they were really busy last year.
They were, and because of how busy they were, because of how much they've released as a group in such a short amount of time, they were going through the concept way too fast. If they had slowed down, maybe they could have done the cute concept for a little bit longer. But I think maybe because they've done it for so many times already, some people are a little bit more, they might want something different. Because I remember when people saw the images for BDZ and was like, oh, is this going to be a girl crush? Is this going to be a girl crush? Are they finally doing something different? It's seeing that excitement because they saw images and teasers of a possible new concept that really got people excited.
So, with that too, what are your thoughts on like seasonal concepts? So last summer, right? I think we had a really good showing for last summer, and normally, summer concepts, I don't recall them doing so well, and or for K-pop in general, or like they aren't as well received as they could have been or they should have been. And in fact, to this day, I can't recall any summer comebacks, like summer themed comebacks, over the past decade besides this past year.
I'd say Sister with like Shake It would be one of them. How they became pretty much known as the like summer queens.
Yeah, you're right. I had forgotten all about that.
So that I feel like those seasonal concepts, while they can be good, they don't last as long. They're not year round that you want to listen. Like you don't want to listen to Christmas music in the middle of summer.
Well, and see, and that's why I'll say for like Twice is the best thing I've ever done.
Yeah.
That's so. The music video is kind of Christmassy, but it's not overtly Christmassy, right?
Yeah.
And same with the song itself. So that's a song that I could listen to that at any time in the year without that association of Christmas.
But with that same idea, Merry and Happy, that was a straight Christmas song.
Yes, that is something that I would only listen to that around Christmas time. So, but like for last year's summer season, right? You got Lovely's Wagzak, as well as GFriend's Sunny Summer.
Yeah.
Red Velvet's Power Up.
Yup.
Twice's Dance the Night Away.
Mm-hmm.
So most of those songs, I would say are pretty. They will hold up throughout the year.
Yeah.
Except for, like, maybe Sunny Summer.
I could listen to them throughout the year.
Yeah.
And even like Sunny Summer, like I was still jamming out to that song like as of last month, when we had snow out. So.
I don't know. For me, I have a harder time listening to a couple of those songs in the middle of winter because it's freezing. I'm shivering. I don't want to be energized. I just want to be in get into a warm place. But yeah, if I'm like freezing, I probably wouldn't listen to maybe Power Up just because I'm too busy shivering.
I think I'm the opposite with that. I could listen to that every single day.
Yeah, for sure. I'm the same way, and just because it's cold outside and I'm freezing, like I don't know, I could still listen to those type of songs because, well, I guess we've already established in a previous conversation that you absolutely hate the cold.
Oh yeah, demon powder.
Whereas I love snow, so.
Can't stand snow. It's a demonic powder. Don't want to drive in it. Don't want to be out in it. Nope.
You don't even want to see it.
No, I don't. It is cold when it actually snows and it sticks. The snow makes like the night really bright, so I can see a purple glow out my window when I'm sleeping and wakes me up. I don't want to see that. I don't want to see that.
I love that.
I'm sleeping.
I think I'm fine with the snow, but this last week we got below like 20 and below like negative 20, I guess. And that is not cool. That is just not fair.
So, back when I was in Japan, we were in the Aomoriken prefecture, and that's like home to 4 out of the 5 snowiest cities in the world.
Yeah.
Wow.
And so at that time, I was still a mechanic, and I'd be outside working on jets with all the snow coming down, and it would be just as cold as what you were describing. But
Jesus.
for me, I didn't mind it because we were always running around trying to get jets fixed. So I'd actually end up peeling off layers because I get so hot. Like I remember at one point, I'd actually peeled down to just my t-shirt up top, whereas I started off with like I think 5 layers, 6 layers on top, and
Wow.
I just got too hot from all the running around, so I just peeled down to just a t-shirt for up top.
I could see that, and I did that too when I was working, but it's more of like you're running around, you're getting kind of sweaty, so you take off one layer, and then isn't it bad with you sweating and feeling hot and then going into the cold like that? Wouldn't that be bad?
Yeah, so for certain people that can even trigger cardiac arrest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I guess since we're now this far off topic, it's time to move on to the next piece.
Yeah, we've veered way too far. So yeah, let's move on to the next piece. So with the next topic that we should start, I think Jihoon, you had something you wanted to say before.
Yeah, so JYP 2.0, right? I know this isn't exactly new news. It got brought up last year, June. You said, right?
Yeah, July 26th.
Or July?
I believe. Yeah.
Okay. So, but it's been popping up back in the news cycle again, primarily in reaction to it coming to light that JYP Entertainment is planning on introducing 4 new groups for this year. So, among them is ITZY, and what were the other groups you mentioned?
It was, like the boy. No, I think
It
it
was
was
a boy group, right?
Yeah, it was. I don't think it was called the boys. Shoot, I had it on the tip of my tongue. I know that there was a Japanese girl group.
I remember that.
Did they mention the 4th group yet?
No. Oh wait, no. So it was ITZY, the Japanese girl, all Japanese girl group, and then the boy group.
Did he release the 4th one?
I don't think that they released a 4th one.
So it's come up in the news cycle that there is going to be a 4th group as well, but I haven't seen any details on what this 4th group is going to be. So
Boy Story, that's what it was.
Boy Story. Okay. So one of the things that brought this back into the news cycle. So on YouTube, there's a video by Internet's Nathan where he's talking about is JYP about to make his biggest mistake ever, and in it he's talking about JYP Entertainment with their plans on there being 4 new groups, as well as JYP 2.0. So, for those of you who don't know what JYP 2.0 means, the industry standard for managing groups is you have departments for everything, right? So you have one department that manages the schedule, one department that manages the songwriting, or I should say contracting for songs.
Yeah.
Another group that manages their promotions. And with Twice, he had actually prototyped a different concept of managing a group. So what was different with Twice is rather than them being managed by the company's main departments, Twice had their own dedicated teams for promotions, scheduling, and
Right.
contracting songs. And this actually, so that concept isn't exactly anything new per se in the business world, where you have identical teams performing the same functions. In fact, for my company, we do that. We actually have 2 units that maintain two fleets of aircraft. We, as a whole, we have a lot of aircraft that we manage, but we have two distinct units with the same sub departments, the same amount of personnel, the same amount of equipment. And what you're getting with that is, rather than trying to have like one department manage the promotions for all these various groups, there's going to be groups that don't get managed well.
Yeah.
Because
It's split up way too thin.
it's spread out way too thin, for one. Two, the way the department is organized may not work well for that particular group's concept
Exactly.
or for where they're trying to go.
Yeah.
So, in a sense, it makes sense from an operational standpoint, right? Where you have these departments, or you have these teams that are tailor made for that particular group.
Mm-hmm.
On the other hand, one of the issues that always comes up with this is, and the biggest complainers are usually coming from the accounting department, the people who keep track of the money,
Yeah.
is you're going to have a duplication in equipment, duplication in office space, unless you plan on having them all housed together anyways.
Which I think
Yeah.
that, from what I could tell from the interview, I could be wrong. I think that it might be in the same like area, from what I understood. But
Where all,
again,
so all the various teams will be working in the same like offices.
I from what I could understand, I think so, because they did move into the new JYP building, but it's also very much bigger.
Because the way it stands right now, right? All the various departments are segregated into separate offices.
Yeah.
So, what if, yes, you still have your teams that are dedicated to each group, but
Mhm.
they still remain in their respective offices.
Yeah.
Like where the three of us, we're in the same room, but I'm working on Twice. You're working on ITZY, and somebody else is working on, bringing back Wonder Girls, right?
Bang! You can work on bringing back Wonder Girls.
So
I'll try my hardest.
So that could work, or it's probably better to have all the teams who are working on the same group in the same office, because then you could coordinate those efforts as well. But then at the same time, if say all three of us are in the promotions department and we're working on different groups, we could coordinate our efforts. Like, hey, since you're promoting in say Osaka, Japan,
Yeah.
we're planning on doing the same thing too. We can pool our resources together to promote together.
I mean, there's this other thing where like you don't want the artists to maybe all release a song all in the same day,
Exactly. So if we're in a scheduling department, we could deconflict so that we don't interfere with each other's comebacks.
Yeah, like if you get 10 JYP artists literally releasing on the same day, it'd be like, well, looks like we're moving on to the next company for a little bit, so we can get more out of the company,
So, on the whole, I do like the idea of JYP 2.0. I really do. But where Internet's Nathan brings up some really, really bad concerns is, for one, the aggressive timeline, right? So they'd already started moving buildings, right? Or did they already finish moving buildings?
They've already finished moving
I think
buildings.
they already finished.
Yeah, they've... Because I remember seeing a bunch of JYP artists post on Instagram saying, "Bye, old building, we'll miss you." And some are like, "Yeah, it's been a good run at this building," or, "Oh, new building, new beginnings," stuff like that.
So one of the dangers of aggressively moving too quickly with restructuring, and again, right, you see this a lot in the business world. You're not operating at peak efficiency, obviously, because your infrastructure is not set up right. When your office space isn't going to be set up, you have to tear down your office to get it ready to be packed up to go to a new office, set that place up.
Yeah.
And then you have a whole different layout. Things aren't where you're used to it being. So functionally, things aren't streamlined anymore. You have to get back to that groove of things, right?
Exactly.
And then the whole new format of having separate teams dedicated to each group versus having an entire department.
Yeah.
Uh, when you're in a same department working on everybody, you build up your own work culture.
Exactly.
And when you restructure like that, now you're having to rebuild a whole new work culture. And until you do that, you're not operating at peak efficiency either.
Which, I mean, so I think that's why. So one of the reasons why they have Twice as a
Prototype.
is because it's a way for them to test the waters, for them to try things, and basically, I don't want to say this, but because obviously I don't know the full details. I'm not part of the company. I mean, if JYP wants to hire me, I wouldn't be opposed to it, But they may break up the Twice's like initial group, like the prototype group, and have them train and head new groups while keeping and also basically rotating some of the people out. So probably in the next few months, if anything, we may see new managers. We may see a new team for Twice managing it, with maybe a few of the old members still like trying to help get people used to the new culture of helping Twice, or helping ITZY, or helping GOT7, or Stray Kids.
Yeah, that's something that's never easy because going back to my company as an example, we've recently not restructured, but we recently did a lot of personnel moves where we had some people come from our or not some, like we've had a lot of people actually come from our overseas branches. So like we've got people coming in from like Italy, others from Korea. I just came back from Japan last year, and it's not everybody is able to get up and running like right away. So
Exactly.
like we've had some people that were like superstars at their previous location, but then coming here they're having a hard time. They're struggling with getting into our work culture here and putting up with like the regional challenges of operating out of this location.
Yeah.
And others are superstars that pretty much hit the ground running and are able to get their groove like right away.
Yeah.
But I would say the average lead time that we were looking at was probably about 2 months until someone was like just about 95% there and able to be fully up and running within the company.
Yeah.
But other people were taking 6 months, and we've even had others who just never got it.
I mean, change isn't easy.
Oh,
Change
yeah.
is never easy. I mean, because at one of the old companies I used to work for, we went through an entire system change, where I became one of the head runners to try to help as many people understand the system. And most definitely, some people got it faster than the others. But others, I would be taking calls throughout the day, trying to answer the questions for them to figure out how to basically learn how to use it. It wouldn't just be in my state. Sometimes I'd have to coordinate and help people in Idaho or Florida. Like I'd be taking calls just to try to help people, and change is never easy. Some still had called me after like a few months just to go, hey, I'm having trouble with understanding how to search this item using this method. Can you clarify or go more in depth of how to do this? I'm like, yeah, I'll help you as best as I can. Can you show me what you're seeing on screen, and I'll walk you through it. And it's not an easy process.
Right. And so going back to the 4 groups that JYP is planning on debuting, so Internet's Nathan, he brings up the concerns that JYP may be spreading themselves too thin with trying to do too much at once, doing the restructuring from last year and the restructuring, relocation, and then debuting 4 new groups. However, I don't think as far as like the quality of the work that's gonna be put out from the existing groups like Twice, I don't think that's gonna suffer because for one, they have their own dedicated team just for Twice, right?
Yeah.
So Twice's output is not going to be affected much. They did get affected by the relocation, but that's done and over with now. So
Yeah.
you know they were still able to put out quality products during that time.
Yeah.
For the four new groups, that will be really a function of how quickly the current established departments, once they get split up into teams for those groups, how quickly they're able to build their work culture and adapt, which they've already had. I'm assuming they've already had some time to do that because like you said, JYP 2.0 was announced back in July, so they would have had enough time to give the departments this heads up to make the preparations, review the notes taken by Twice's team if they took notes. I hope they had taken notes.
Yeah.
Right. We'll see.
I mean, so like with the Japanese girl group, as an example, they projected that in the at least in the interview video, he projected it to be maybe late 2019, going into 2020, and then they've already debuted the Boy Story.
Yeah.
The one problem I have with that name is I keep on wanting to say Toy Story.
So with a Boy Story, and for that Japanese girl group, it's gonna be the same way. With Boy Story, what was it, TME, right? You said.
Yeah, TME Entertainment. Oh.
So, one of the stipulations for doing business in China is a Chinese firm has to be involved as like either a partner of some sort. That's why you see a lot of this with American automakers who operate in China.
Yeah.
So, for example, Chrysler, they don't manufacture, market, promote by themselves in China. They actually share their operations with a Chinese firm.
Mm-hmm.
In doing all of those things. So for TME, they are the Chinese piece to managing Boy Story and getting them operate up and running in China, which for the Japanese girl group is going to be Sony. So the thing about that is it helps alleviate some of those resources that's going to be required out of JYP Entertainment.
Yeah.
And since Sony and TME are already established, the teams that get dedicated to those groups can kind of just
focus on those groups.
Exactly, focus on those groups, but also kind of take after TME and take after Sony. Kind of developing into those companies, working with those companies.
Yeah.
Rather than trying to build from scratch like what Twice did. Twice's team, I should say.
Yeah. They definitely have a foothold and view of how and what direction they could go in. They have that framework.
Yep, exactly. It's already established by TME and Sony. So
Bang.
Bang. I was about to say you're relatively younger. You've got you've got less of a tainted business sense. I would say.
What, we're tainted now?
Definitely. Yeah. Well, I mean, you guys are more advanced in this than I am. I mean, I understand what you're saying with how your workflow goes and how it's hard to get into new things, and you're gonna have to transition to how the move is and everything.
Yeah.
So for you, if you're a team member, what would be your main concerns with that be?
I mean, is it really gonna hold up, or is it really gonna make a difference if they move buildings though? If they already moved and did everything?
Well, it's not just buildings; it's how they work, basically. Like, because they've already moved buildings. That's done and over with. Yeah. It's like, let's say you've done, you've moved boxes for 20 some years, but suddenly they want you to move boxes in a new way that you're not used to. Maybe you've been lifting with a crane, but now they want you to use a forklift to move those boxes. You have to learn a new way of carrying those boxes, and it's a new structure. It's trying to get used to that new structure, that new work style.
Which,
I'd say it's just gonna take time.
yeah.
It's
Yeah.
gonna take time for them to figure out what fits perfectly and what works best for them to work on each artist and group.
Yeah.
Yeah, and another thing that got brought up too. So not only did they have the restructuring, not only did they announce the four groups, but they've also announced another subsidiary. I can't remember what it's called, but so this is a subsidiary of JYP Entertainment that does songwriting.
Yeah.
And so, it's called JYP Publishing. So, JYP Publishing, their focus is to develop songwriting. So rather than trying to contract out songs or contract in songs from other songwriters, they'll have JYP Publishing to basically write their own songs for JYP's artists.
Which I think is a great thing. It's very much cheaper than having to look for writers, for producers and whatnot to create the music, to create the lyrics.
Not to mention you have more involvement and say in the content of the songs as well.
Exactly. And then you don't have to go by try to negotiate a price for the song either. It's already there, basically.
So with this, I forgot what they call this format of a company.
Company and company, I believe it was called.
Company and
No.
company, but or basically rather than your company focusing on just this one thing, you have your company with all these divisions that does everything. You
Yeah.
know? So just like with the whole JYP publishing, right?
Yeah.
Rather than relying on another set of companies for songs,
Mhm.
they just take that into part of their process of developing intellectual properties.
Yeah.
So there is a very valid concern with all of this though, like, and namely that's money. Like, it's a lot of money. Just
Oh, yeah.
restructuring alone, the whole restructuring of the departments into group based teams, that alone is it costs money
Yeah.
in terms of you having to pay for stuff, but it also costs money in terms of that loss of efficiency, right? So your ability to make money is going to be handicapped a bit until they're back up and running into their efficiency.
Yeah.
And then the whole moving buildings, right? Again, you're losing efficiency from having to tear down your office to pack it up and then establish a new office and establish that workflow.
Mm-hmm.
And then the cost of copywriting the intellectual properties for the four new groups, establishing JYP Publishing. Like, JYP Entertainment is burning through a lot of cash from last year to now.
They are, which, I mean, it's a risk. This entire JYP 2.0, it's a big risk that they're taking. But it's basically like gambling. The bigger the risk, the bigger the reward.
Right. It's just that typically when we see these type of restructurings happening within the business world, it's phased in over a longer span of time, right? All this has been happening within the past 6 months.
I feel like it's been a lot longer because, so JYP 2.0 has probably been in the works for a while. I think it's been in the works since 2017.
Yes, I know where you're going with this too. But go ahead.
So it's just that he goes more in depth with this in July. So, and some of the artists aren't even projected till 2020. It's just a lot of time that's being gone into. I mean, yeah, it might be better to possibly go into more time than just 3 years, because again, it's a process.
It is. It's just that actually planning and actually executing are two different things, right? you could plan for 20 years to do something,
Yeah.
and until you actually execute it. So
Well, with
there,
Boy Story, they've like already they debuted in I think 2017, 2017, 2018. So they've already debuted, or at least no, they debuted in 2018. Yeah.
right.
So
So and that's what I was talking about. So yes, we saw that Twice was the prototype for this restructuring, right? From
exactly.
2015 through now. It's just that the actual execution of the restructuring didn't start happening till the middle of last year.
Yeah.
Because you can do all the planning, right? And planning, I'm not going to say it's free. Planning still costs money because it requires your employees to put in that time and effort to come
Yeah.
up with those plans, those reports. But actually planning isn't very expensive. It's the
Yeah.
actual execution. It's the
Mhm.
execution that is extremely expensive. That's the reason why companies usually phase in. Uh, companies usually phase in those type of restructuring because they can't afford to eat that cost all at once, or maybe
Mhm.
not that they can't afford it. It's just that if they do pay for it right, like all up front, it's gonna leave them with so little cash reserves, and
Exactly.
that's an important thing. You need to have a large amount of cash reserves when you're operating a large business.
Especially in entertainment.
Exactly, because you know, with entertainment, it's a whole lot less forecasted with revenue compared to, like, say, car manufacturing, right?
Yeah.
With car manufacturing, there's based off of
Trends.
history, exactly. Like I know that during this time of the year, I'll send a lot of cars. I know around this time or around this time of the year, a lot of trucks will get sold, whatever, right?
Yeah.
It's less predictable with entertainment, and that's
Yeah.
because it's just the nature
It's
of
fan interest. Fan
exactly
interest.
fan interest. Exactly, yeah, and the way that the market trends.
Yeah.
So because like market trends in entertainment it moves so much more rapidly compared to automotive trends, right? Or well, I would say clothing trends probably moves just as quickly as entertainment.
Yeah, because
So
I'm not going to wear the same thing as what my dad wore when he was my age.
exactly. So
Actually, I might.
yeah. Yeah. I mean, we do get these retro periods, but so
Yeah.
yeah, this whole restructuring, like the actual execution, having started like middle of last year, and then them starting up JYP Publishing, like that is definitely a lot of cash um, being burned right now, and hopefully the revenues will be enough to keep them afloat over the course of this year.
Because, yeah, I mean, they still have to release music for their artists. If they don't, it's just they'll lose a lot of fan interest, which is really bad. And
Right.
uh, so it's just more resources being used.
So my other concern too is because of the amount of cash that's being consumed, they're going to be that much more dependent on the revenues to keep them afloat. So would that mean that Twice is going to be just as busy this year as they were last year?
I don't know, to be honest. I think with how because ITZY is also being hyped up too. So
Right.
if ITZY does really well, I feel like that might
Take some of
alleviate
that burden off.
exactly. Now I don't. I'm not saying that all the burden should be placed on ITZY. They're still going to be a rookie group. But I feel like having both ITZY and Twice going at the same time would really help alleviate some of the and Stray Kids too, because I know Stray Kids they've
Yes.
just recently announced their U.S. Tour, so they have to deal with that too.
So Bang, for you as a fan, how are you taking this, like all of this?
Um,
Like, is it causing you concerns that maybe Twice is going to be just as overworked this year as they were last year?
I mean, along with what you guys were saying with ITZY, I mean, if ITZY does have a good debut, then it's gonna kind of take away from Twice with them. They're still gonna be working hard. It's just not gonna be super chaotic like it was last year.
Yeah, last year was pretty brutal.
I
That was
felt
a pretty
bad.
rigorous schedule.
I felt bad for them. Like, as much as I loved like all the releases and all of the videos that they released, I was more concerned with their health, because they
Yeah.
mentioned plenty of times that they were tired, and having to practice a new language for the foreign members, having to travel to the U.S. I mean, you know as much as I do that flying on a like 10, 12, even 16-hour flight, that is exhausting.
It sucks.
It is exhausting.
I mean, so the last time I flew to Japan, I flew on business class, and normally that would cost was it $10,000 on
Yeah,
the 787,
I think
and
so.
I think it's beautiful, and business class is amazing. But thankfully, I was able to get that complimentary, so that wasn't money out of my pocket.
Yeah,
But even then, even with flying in business class with all that space, being able to recline the seat all the way down into like a bed,
yeah,
it was still rough.
yeah. It, which is something I don't think some fans realize is like, some people go, yeah, they should come to the other side of the world, perform on the other side of the world. I mean, as much as I would love to see them perform in my state, I don't want them to burn out because of traveling.
Oh
It,
yeah, because that would definitely because what was it 3 years ago? I want to say I had clocked in almost 80 hours of flying,
yeah,
Wow.
and that really like after that, dude, I was just burnt out. Almost refused to fly for like the next 2 years after that.
I mean, you're in the air, you're stuck in a plane for so many hours.
Well, and there's a lot of things to it as well, like as far as like your health that a lot of people don't realize. So even with when you're just traveling within the United States, right? Say if you go from the East Coast to the West Coast,
Yeah,
the local um like the local flora or bacteria, um, even though it's harmless, your body's just not used to it because it's a whole different like strain
environment.
from what exactly it's a different strain from the environment that you came from, and your body's gonna attack it and go into like you're basically gonna come down with a cold, right?
Yeah,
And that's what the cold is. That's why there's no cure for the common cold. Is it's just a catch-all term for, hey, there's something foreign in your body. Your body doesn't know what to do about it, so it's gonna go to full DEFCON 4 and start attacking it, and you're just gonna feel horrible for the next few days until your body either adapts to it or kicks it out.
yeah,
So you're gonna go through that whenever you go to a whole new environment. Which for me, I experienced that when I went to Malaysia. I experienced it when I went to Japan. Like every time I go to Japan, really, or even leaving Japan to go to the United States again, right? Because I spent like 9 years in Japan, and during those 9 years in Japan, like I'll periodically fly back to the States, and it would be the same thing, right? Because I got used to that local bacteria in Japan, go to the United States, come down with a cold and feel awful, which it doesn't help too that you're stuck in a plane for 10, 14, longest I spent was 18 hours in a
yeah,
plane. So you're in a tight enclosed environment with over 100 other people getting their germs as well.
yeah.
And again, it's harmless germs. It's just that your body's not used to it. So that's already weakening your immune system.
And then bathroom breaks, just the trying to get used. If you're not used to being around so many people, that gets to you too, because it's a different environment where you're crowded around a bunch of strangers.
Yep. And especially if you're the type of person who gets like social anxiety from being surrounded by a lot of people, um, then that stress will also weaken your immune system.
Yeah,
So that's why like when fans talk about world tours for their favorite groups, it's not exactly something you can talk about lightly. You
no,
know, for one, that's a lot of logistics to coordinate. You have to make sure that all those venues are set up, that those venues meet your safety standards. Because if you remember, twice when they had to cancel, was it the Indonesia concert
I think
or Malaysia, wasn't it?
it was one of those.
I'm pretty
I
sure it was.
I think it
What?
was Malaysia.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was Malaysia, because I was I remember feeling a bit bad for them because like, oh, I was just in Malaysia the other year, I think it was, and there was so many Malaysian fans were disappointed, but the venue just didn't they have like an accident setting up?
So
Yeah, I thought it was the stage.
yeah,
There's something wrong with
so
how they set up the stage.
so the stage was unsafe, and I
Yeah.
think
Yeah.
one of the things fell. So I think it was, those rings that they sat on. I think it was one of the scaffolds for those fell.
Okay.
Wait.
Oh wow.
So if like an actual person sat on it, like their life would have been in danger. Period.
Yes. So Planet
And they only had a short period of time to perform that.
exactly because there are so many things that you have to try and coordinate. On top of getting your performers there, you're gonna have your stage equipment, right?
Mhm.
Well, your stage equipment may not necessarily be able to fly there. Sometimes it's either too heavy or too big to fit in the plane, so it has to go by boat. And what could take, 10 hours to fly over, is going to take about a week by boat. And so, if you were to ship it by boat, then you also have to coordinate the pickup from the docks to the venue. So it's logistics is not an easy thing, especially for a road tour because your timelines are, if you have a mistake somewhere early on in your road tour, that's going to affect all your other concerts the rest of the way.
Yeah.
So
But yeah, I mean, so we're getting pretty far into these topics, and I would love to go more in depth with this, but I think we should wrap this up because time's almost up for our podcast. Actually, I think we went over time a little bit over, but I think it's fine.
Yeah.
So let's actually wrap this up.
you probably spent the most on JYP 2.0.
Oh, for sure. Well, we also deviated to world travel and whatnot.
Yeah.
So, you want to do the wrap up piece with the birthdays and
Yeah.
comeback schedule?
Yeah. So, birthdays. Recently, the 29th of January was 101's. I'm going to butcher his name. I'm sorry for 101 fans, but Dwahi, his birthday was on January 29th. And then February 1st was Twice's Jiho. Her birthday was on the 1st of this month, so yesterday. So happy birthday to those two. I'm sorry if there's more birthdays that I haven't called out. Is there any other birthdays that you guys can think of?
None off the top of my head.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Then, okay, so we'll go to a few of the next comebacks that are coming up. We have Taemin, who is having a comeback on the 11th of...
Came in from Shiny.
Yes, Chinese Taemin. ITZY's debuting this month. G-Friend is having their Japanese album being released, I believe the 13th of this month, as well as Red Velvet. They're having a Japanese comeback as well on the 20th. And I think Luna should be having their comeback coming up soon as well. Were there any other comebacks that you guys could think of off the top of your head? Or even debuts?
Not for next week, no. But I know for the rest of this month, we got some pretty good stuff coming down, especially with ITZY.
Yeah, ITZY's probably the biggest thing.
Yeah, I can't think of any.
Alright, well, thank you guys for listening. Once again, join us next time. Definitely try to stay more on subject next time. We did veer off quite a bit. But again, thank you for listening. This is Idol Stan Nation. And yeah, bye.
Peace.
See ya.